This is the Sri Ramana Maharshi Satsang, a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. I love this teaching and so want to share it. I'm reading and commenting on the Advaita Gita. Continuing this week, I read from chapter 1, verses 27 through 34. 27. I know not Shiva. It can mean Brahman and high awareness. How can I speak of him? Who Shiva is, I do not know. How can I worship him? I am Shiva, the only reality. Like absolute space is my nature. In me is neither unity nor variety. The cause of imagination, too, is absent in me. Free from subject and object, I am. How can I be self-realizable? Endless is my nature. Nothing else exists. Absolute truth is my nature. Nothing else exists. Atman by nature, the supreme reality, am I. Neither am I slayer nor the slain. On the destruction of a jar, the space in it unites with all space. In myself and Shiva, I see no difference when the mind is purified. Brahman alone is as pure consciousness. In truth, there is no jar and no jar space, no embodied soul, nor its nature. There are no worlds, no Vedas, no Devas, no sacrifices, no castes, no family tribes, no nationalities, no smoke path, no shining path. Some there are that prize non-dualism, others hold to dualism. They know not the truth, which is above all. Here are some explanations of these Advaita Gita verses from the perspective of Ramana Maharshi. Verse 27. I know not Shiva. How can I speak of him? Who Shiva is, I do not know. How can I worship him? Ramana Maharshi often emphasized self-inquiry, probing deeply into your own nature. In this verse, the Advaita expresses the inability to comprehend Shiva, which symbolizes the ultimate reality or Brahman. The inability to know Shiva with the mind. Ramana would view this as recognizing the limitations of the intellect to grasp the absolute truth, the truth in which the mind and body and intellect exist. This verse also shows the humility required for genuine spiritual inquiry, acknowledging the limitations of your conceptual understanding. Verse 28, I am Shiva, the only reality. like absolute space is my nature. In me is neither unity nor variety. The cause of imagination, too, is absent in me. Now we switch from negation to declaration of the truth of reality. Ramana would see this verse as a declaration of the ultimate truth of non-duality, Advaita, one, beyond ideas of one and many. The Advaita realizes identity with Shiva, the supreme reality, beyond the realm of duality and imagination. Ramana would emphasize the importance of recognizing your true nature as the unchanging reality, like the vastness of space, devoid of distinctions and mental constructs. Verse 29, free from subject and object am I. How can I be self-realizable? Endless is my nature. Nothing else exists. Absolute truth is my nature. Nothing else exists. This verse is a profound declaration of the self-realized state, where the distinction between subject and object dissolves. The difference between self and realization dissolves. The Advaita recognizes their true nature as the infinite and absolute truth, beyond dualistic perception. Ramana emphasized the importance of self-inquiry and direct knowledge to realize this truth, transcending the limitations of ego-bound mind. Verse 30, Atman by nature, the supreme reality am I. Neither am I slayer nor the slain. Ramana would interpret this verse as a realization of your true nature as Atman, the self, the supreme reality, free, beyond birth and death. The Advaita acknowledges identity as the eternal self, which transcends the roles of doer and the one who experiences. Ramana emphasized the importance of abiding in self-awareness, realizing the illusion of individual identity and the transient nature of worldly phenomena. He would say, hold to the self. Verse 31, on the destruction of a jar, the space in it unites with all space. In myself and Shiva, I see no difference when the mind is purified. Ramana would see this verse as a metaphorical illustration of the unity of the individual self, Atman, with the universal consciousness, Brahman. Just as space within a jar merges with the all-encompassing space upon the jar's destruction, the individual self merges with the ultimate reality upon the dissolution of the egoic mind. Ramana emphasized the purification of the mind through self-inquiry and self-surrender as the means to realize this non-dual truth. Was jar space ever different from absolute space? Are you ever different from Shiva? Verse 32, Brahman alone is as pure consciousness. In truth, there is no jar and no jar space, no embodied soul, nor its nature. This verse is a negation of the perceived reality of the world and the individual self. The Advaita recognizes Brahman as the sole reality, manifesting as pure consciousness, devoid of any attributes or limitations. Ramana emphasized the need to transcend the identification with the body and mind, to recognize yourself as the eternal consciousness underlying all phenomena. You are. All things are in you. Verse 33, there are no worlds, no Vedas, no Devas, no sacrifices, no castes, no family tribes, no nationalities, no smoke path, no shining path. This verse continues negation, this time negating the usual categories and distinctions perceived by the mind. The Advaita realizes the illusory nature of the world and its manifestations, including religious rituals, social hierarchies, cultural identities, and spiritual paths. Ramana emphasized the importance of transcending these conceptual constructs through self-inquiry to realize the underlying unity of existence. Who are you when there are no differences? Verse 38, some there are that prize non-dualism, others hold to dualism. They know not the truth which is above both. This verse is a recognition of the diversity of spiritual paths and beliefs, yet their ultimate inadequacy to reveal the absolute truth. The Advaita acknowledges that both non-dualism and dualism are mere conceptual frameworks, just ideas that fail to capture the inexpressible reality beyond them. Ramana would emphasize the need to transcend all conceptual frameworks through self-inquiry and direct experience to realize the ultimate truth. These verses from the Advaita Gita, interpreted through the lens of Ramana Maharshi, express the recognition of the ultimate reality as beyond conceptual understanding, emphasizing the non-dual nature of existence and the futility of worldly distinctions. They emphasize the profound teaching of Ramana and Advaita, no difference. They invite profound self-inquiry into the nature of consciousness, transcending dualistic perceptions to reveal the inevitable truth of your own being, yourself, the self, the only self that there is. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. Now, a video from Nome, Being, Consciousness, Bliss.
The self is of the nature of Satchidananda, being, consciousness, bliss. It is existence without beginning or end. It is consciousness, indivisible, without difference. It is happiness that is uncaused and innate. It is Brahman. What can be conceived of it? Yet all that is conceived is only that. Whatever can be perceived of it, yet all that is perceived is only that. When its happiness shines forth, from where does it shine forth? This self is yourself. Why imagine distinctions? What could possibly be closer to you than your own existence? What possibly could be better known than consciousness? What possibly could be more natural than bliss? There is no distance to traverse, no chasm to cross over. You have only to know the self as it is. It is never a known or unknown object. To know the self, you must make your way of vision non-objective. And as the Maharshi has instructed, inquire profoundly, who am I? If you cease to misidentify with the body, not attributing its qualities, activities, states, and conditions to yourself, it will be self-evident that your existence, transcendent of the body, is all that there is, without there actually being anything such as all at all. If you cease to misidentify as a body or individualized mind, the supreme consciousness, which is Brahman, will be self-evident, and you will find no one apart from it to be ignorant of it. With the absence of ignorance regarding existence or consciousness, there is no obstacle to your happiness. For where being is, where consciousness is, there is happiness. There is peace. What can be known of you? You remain always the unknown knower of all that is known. So then, know the knower. If you negate all definition in terms of the known from the knower, what remains? Moreover, whenever anything is known or experienced, it is you yourself that are known or experienced. Yet you can never become an object of knowledge or experience. What is this you? If by self-inquiry and deep devotion, all superimposed definitions or misidentifications are removed, what remains to call yourself? There is in truth no individualized I, yet you exist forever. There is in truth no individualized perceiver or conceiver, nor any world of perception or conception. Yet you remain as the eternal and infinite consciousness. There is in truth no ego, which is the seed of suffering. And you remain as that which is perfectly full, always. To deeply understand what's being indicated, inquire within, in search of the self. Who am I? If only you know yourself, Brahman remains self-known.
And now we'll take some time to inquire. You exist. Notice that you exist, and you know that you exist. Now inquire, investigate within yourself. Who is it that seeks to know Shiva, or Brahman, or the Self? Can this seeker be known? Reflect on the statement, in me is neither unity nor variety. Can you observe the fluctuations of the mind without identifying with them? Reflect on the statement, free from subject and object am I. Can you observe your own awareness devoid of identification with objects or thoughts? reflect on the statement, Brahman alone is as pure consciousness. Can you abide in the awareness of can you abide in the awareness of pure being beyond all conceptual understanding? Pure being. Who am I? I exist. What is the nature of my existence? What actually exists? right. And we close with their chant. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Any comments, discussions, good meditations?
Nothing to say after that.
Well, I think that reflects what the Advaita was telling us. Not only nothing to say, but who is there to say it? I continue to think it's wonderful that there are these teachings of extraordinary depth to be able to share. So namaste. We'll see you next week. Thank you for coming together today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will be in California next week.
Okay.
I'll miss that one, but I look forward to the next one.
Okay. Okay. See you, Richard. Have a good trip.
Thank you.